Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about high school and all things high school. High school was an interesting time for me. I will say that I did not like high school whatsoever. I didn't like my high school. I didn't like how my high school was run, the people there. I was not a fan of high school whatsoever, but I did have some really good times and I did meet some people that I did love. And so I guess for one of those people who has trouble kind of socializing and going through that, this is a good video for me to kind of tell you how I got through it. Because let me tell you, it's only 4 years of your life and it will go by like literally so fast. Like I went through high school like it feels like so long ago. It was 2 years ago. But it just went by so fast. I can't even remember how the classes were set up anymore. But I will say that I do remember how I went through it and how I coped with it. And yeah, I have a few tips for surviving high school. First of all, you're going to change so much in high school. I went through so many different phases and with so many different people in high school. I started off wanting to be this like country Taylor Swift song. I wanted to literally live my life out like 15. And honestly, my life turned out a lot like that music video and a lot like that song. Honestly, that's like literally my whole testimony pretty much is that song. But you're definitely going to change a lot, and so don't think that who you are now is who you're going to be at the end of high school. It'll get so much better and you'll grow into yourself so much more. Sophomore year, I was into wearing skirts and being girly, and then about halfway through I decided I wanted to be emo and I wanted to be into punk rock stuff and listen to sad music. And then junior year I decided that I was gonna dye my hair black and I was going to try and find myself more, and I really did. Junior year is where I really found myself and who I was as a person and grew into myself so much more. And then senior year, I just did my own thing. I left school all the time because I had free periods and went shopping and lived my life as a senior, and it was fun. I loved it. I did Senior Assassin and I beat everyone. Well, I didn't win, but I would have won, but then there was a whole problem that happened where all of the little notes got mixed up. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. Honestly, if I can give you some really good advice, piece of really good advice, it would be to not care. Don't care as much, because once you stop caring, like seriously, listen, once you stop caring, everyone will want to be your friend, will think you're so much cooler, and your life will get so much better. Trust me. It was about senior year when I like fully grew into myself and stopped caring about what other people thought, and I made so many more friends than I had before. I felt free. I made a move on the guy that I had liked in high school and asked him to prom without caring what would happen. And guess what? I got the date. And we even dated for a few minutes after. But obviously, like, college. But yeah, seriously, like, just do what you want to do. Just be who you want to be and don't be afraid. And that's so much easier said than done, but trust me, once you realize that and you decide that you're going to be confident and love yourself, so many more people will gravitate towards you. Another piece of advice is you most likely will end up dating your first boyfriend. At least most people do. I mean, if not, then good for you. Honestly, you don't want to. Not worth it. It's not worth it in high school. But you most likely will. And when that happens, remember that he shouldn't be your world. So many people in high school and in your first relationship, you think like, oh my gosh, this is what I've always wanted. He's my world, he's my everything. Girl, no. That's not how it should be, and I'm telling you, if that's how you make it, it's not gonna work out. it 100% will fail, because that's not how a relationship is supposed to be. Focus on yourself and your friends. Don't get rid of your friends to hang out with this boy every day. It's not worth it. Because those girls will be there for you forever, but the boy won't. He's gonna go. You have like a less than 10% chance that you will end up with that guy after. And if that happens, then that's awesome, but I'm telling you that it won't happen if you make him your world, because that'll just create a codependent relationship that's not going to work out. Another piece of advice I have for high schoolers is don't take all of the classes. Don't stress yourself out with classes that you don't want to take, like AP classes. I got into all the schools that I wanted to get into. Every single school that I wanted to get into. I ended up going to GCU, which isn't that hard of a school to get into. It's getting harder as it goes on, but it's honestly not that hard of a school to get into. So I don't want to use that as my example. But I had other schools that are hard to get into. Chapman University, University of Southern Carolina, things like that I got into and that I applied to, and I had a good GPA. I had a really good GPA. And I had a good GPA, weighted and unweighted, because I decided that I wasn't going to stress myself out with a ton of AP classes. It wasn't worth it to me. I didn't want to go to an Ivy League. That's a completely different story. I honestly don't know how to get into those because I just couldn't do it. AP classes boost your GPA higher if you want to go above a 4.0, but I know a lot of people who would take AP classes and they would get C's and lower grades than an A, and so it would lower their unweighted GPA. I chose to go in a completely different route and not take AP classes. I took 2 AP classes, and they were the 2 easiest ones, psychology and AP Lang. So those are the 2 easy ones, and I decided to take those. And I was fine. I got into every single school. I wasn't ever stressed out. My friends are always wondering how I did it, how I got through high school without being stressed. I can't say that there was ever a time where I was really stressed out, because I just took everything easy, and I just thought, you know what, it's really not that big a deal. As long as I try my hardest and I put forth enough effort, I'll get A's, I'll do well, and I will get into the school I want. I also believe that everything happens for a reason, so you'll end up getting into the school you want no matter what. You'll get into the school that you're meant to be at. So what's the use in stressing about it? There's none. Another piece of advice that I have for high schoolers is to get close to some teachers. I remember senior year, it was really hard for me because I didn't really get close to a lot of teachers, and I didn't have people that I really wanted to ask for letters of recommendation. And that was super awkward for me to go up to a teacher who I had never talked to and ask for a letter of rec. Literally just build relationships. Go in and ask for help during lunch or whatever. Ask for help on this math problem, or how does this essay go again? And that'll just build a little relationship. It doesn't necessarily have to be a full-blown this is my best friend, this teacher, but just kind of a little relationship so that they remember you and know who you are. You're not just some anonymous face in the class. Another thing I would say is find a tutor. They have free tutors at schools, kids who are willing to help each other. If you can afford one, then you definitely should. If you can't, then you can find other ways to find tutors. They have them online. There's different ways to do it. But find a tutor who's going to support you and help you through school. For math, I always had a tutor, and I honestly didn't learn anything in my math classes. It was really hard for me to focus in math. I don't know why, it's just hard for me to focus in class. And so I'd always have a tutor, and before tests, I would meet with him, and he would go over everything with me and kind of teach it to me. And that was so helpful before tests. I got an A in every single math class that I took. I still get A's to this day because that one-on-one tutoring helped me so much. I learned everything based on that. And then my last piece of advice for this video is On the first day of school, don't be afraid to step out. I personally didn't know anyone going into my high school because everyone went to the other high school in my district from my school, and I came from a little middle school. It was a K through 8 school, very small, and so I didn't know anyone, and I was really scared. It was going into a really big public high school. I didn't know to step out there and reach out to people on that first day. I was shy, I was scared, and I ended up meeting my best friend on the first day, who's still my best friend to this day, and I could have made so many more friends than I did, but I was just too scared. So definitely on that first day, go out and talk to everyone. Like, don't be afraid of making a fool of yourself. Just do it. Just put your name out there. Meet people. Be like, hey, let's get lunch. Can I get lunch with you? Like, it might be really scary and awkward at first, but trust me, this is the time to make friends. That is about all of my advice for right now. I can make more videos like this. I probably will, but this was just off the top of my head, on the whim, and what I came up with. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that was helpful, and I love you all.